All right. Thank you, Eric, very much. First, I'll get started with Iraq, and then we'll move to Syria. This week, the Iraqi Air Force conducted a strike on a known ISIS headquarters in Syria that was being used to smuggle ISIS terrorists. This complex operation was planned and conducted by Iraqi security forces with support provided by coalition. This strike demonstrated Iraq's willingness to do what is necessary to secure its citizens, as well as their role as an important partner in the global coalition to defeat ISIS. In the past 4 days, polling stations across Iraq prepared for the upcoming election. The Iraqi security forces, in conjunction with Iraqi government officials, also conducted rehearsals of security operations and security planning. In the past week, the Iraqi security forces continued to aggressively pursue ISIS remnants throughout the country, destroying 4 tunnel systems and locating 27 weapons caches and more than 30 improvised explosive devices and mortars throughout Iraq. During their operations, the ISF also detained 9 suspected ISIS terrorists. While hard work remains after the defeat of ISIS's tyrannical self-proclaimed caliphate, there are encouraging signs that life is returning to normal. In the past month, various groups across Iraq and Syria, including Assyrians, Yazidis, and Kurds, celebrated Nowruz for the first time in years free from ISIS. And in Mosul, the United Arab Emirates, a valued partner in the coalition, pledged to assist Iraq in reconstructing the Al-Nuri Mosque and the Hadba Minaret, which were destroyed by ISIS as they withdrew further into the city in June of last year. Iraqi security forces continue to provide security that enables stability necessary for rebuilding and reconstruction to take place. Moving on to Syria, in the past week, the coalition conducted 14 strikes against ISIS terrorist fighters and defensive fighting positions in Syria. In the following 2 strike videos, you will see coalition airstrikes on an ISIS headquarters building and an ISIS vehicle-borne IED facility. And Eric, please let me know once those are complete.
Okay, we just saw the first explosion. Now the second video is beginning. And that's the second explosion.
All right, very good. The coalition's ability to effectively target and destroy remaining ISIS terrorists is largely due to a constant overhead presence of various intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance platforms that continuously soak up intelligence on ISIS in southeast Syria and along the Syria-Iraq border. We will continue to conduct operations that limit ISIS freedom of maneuver and also constrain their ability to generate forces and degrade their command and control nodes until the terrorist organization is defeated. In addition to servicing ISIS targets, the Syrian Democratic Forces recently announced the capture of Mohammed Haidar Zamar, a Syrian-born German national who worked as a recruiter for ISIS. The Syrian Democratic Forces continue to prove they are a capable force, defeating ISIS throughout most of north and eastern Syria, but also detaining hundreds of foreign terrorist fighters. Terrorist fighters in the region are attempting to sneak away to establish new safe havens or return back to their home countries to recruit, plot, and execute attacks. These terrorist tradecraft, passports, and relationships represent a global threat to the civilized world. the SDF are denying ISIS the ability to do this. Also denying ISIS the ability to come back to liberated areas, the Raqqa internal security forces continue to grow, improve, and provide Raqqawis with security. The coalition has trained many of the RISF on law of armed conflict, weapons familiarization, first aid, and counter-IED awareness. The Raqqa Internal Security Force is subordinate to the Raqqa Civil Council, a local body that is representative of Raqqawis and responsive to their needs. Just last week, on April 19th, that marked the first anniversary of the formation of the Raqqa Civil Council, and the RCC have been instrumental in instituting stabilization projects in an effort to bring life back to Raqqa after the defeat of ISIS. One such initiative is the restoration of the region's canal system, restoring water to tens and thousands of northeast Syrians. According to the Raqqa Civil Council, water services now flow as far east as the Deir ez-Zor province and supply hundreds of wheat farms throughout the region. As summer approaches, the Raqqa Civil Council aims to construct more than 20 water distribution points throughout the city, ensuring residents have clean access to clean water. Finally, I would like to highlight the contributions made by our partners from New Zealand and Australia in remembrance of Anzac Day tomorrow. Anzac Day is a national day of remembrance that commemorates those who served and died in all wars, conflicts, and peacekeeping operations. Tomorrow, Australians, New Zealanders, and fellow coalition members remember those who have sacrificed for their nations and to those who currently serve. Aussie and Kiwi service members are committed to the mission to defeat ISIS, from planning strikes to training thousands of Iraqi security forces. The coalition is stronger and more effective thanks to our brothers and sisters from Australia and New Zealand. And today I proudly wear their patches on my sleeves. You got the New Zealand patch right there, and there's the, don't look at my guns, and the Australian patch right there with the kangaroo. Pretty cool. So I'm just honored to serve with such great teammates. And to our Aussie and Kiwi friends, I say, fair dinkum, you great mates. And with that, I'll happy to take your questions.
Show pretty much ended this brief.